Time now to go inside Kentucky politics and talk about the big story, really, of the week with our good friends Trey Grayson and Bob Babich. Good to see you both. The big news yesterday, of course, U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell announced he would not seek re-election in 2026. Not a surprise, but some people were still caught off guard.
Yeah, not a surprise. We anticipated this from the day that he announced he wasn't going to run for re-election as leader of the Republicans in the U.S. Senate. But he hadn't formally announced that he wasn't running for re-election. And as time went on, as we got past the election last year and the first of the year, maybe this would be summer or even into fall, but he did it on his birthday.
Yeah. What do you think, Bob?
Some thought it might be a little while longer, but it's good that he made it. A lot of reaction from all over the country and certainly across the state. What next? Always about the next race, and certainly the next race now for the next 15 months.
How consequential has Mitch McConnell been to Kentucky?
Tremendously consequential. Everybody in our craft has a McConnell story or examples of how this has been so significant. He cites two things as most significant in his career. In a recent conversation I was privileged to sit in on, the tobacco ballot was one. I was able to work on that from 2002 to 2004 when the president signed it. But Leader McConnell threaded that needle brilliantly, and it was a tough achievement, $2.5 billion economic impact to Kentucky farmers. He also, for so many unseen moments, has been very kind to people, very helpful to people in so many ways, and raised so many alumni in Washington. I mean, Julie Babich, Brian Babich were both McConnell alums, and that they were interns. All those folks got special knowledge, special insight into how to make government work and work well for advancements and success. That's part of the legacy. And the reshaping of the judicial landscape.
Yeah, the reshaping of judicial. We call him the architect of the Republican Party here in Kentucky. The statement that I sent out when he announced it, I pointed out, I love the phrase he used. I think it was his 2008 re-election campaign. He had it on his tagline was "Leadership that delivers." And so all of the money and things that he brought back to the Commonwealth. Yesterday I was driving from Frankfort to Louisville, and on 64 I drove over Floyd's Fork, and I was reminded of the $30 million he pulled out of the hat to help the Louisville Parkland. So did that, remade the judiciary. Little things like incredible constituent service. If you needed help with Social Security, it didn't matter who you voted for. His people did an incredible job of helping you navigate the federal bureaucracy. And then just sort of as Kentucky was becoming more conservative, he was part of that movement. And then with the party, it's just been extraordinary over the last couple of decades. I mean, people like me, I still remember 20 plus years ago when I was running for the first time in office, he took an interest in me. And there were so many folks like that he helped give them advice and encouragement and constructive criticism along the way. And that's no accident that the Republican Party building is called the Mitch McConnell House, because he's literally the architect of the modern Republican Party. It's going to be it's a big loss. Really since Henry Clay, he's been the dominant figure as the United States Senator from Kentucky. Yeah, and helped Kentucky punch above its weight many times. Yep.
For sure. We have others who do that, but not like this.
Yeah.
So many stories, so many examples, and the consequential nature of his work, teaching people how to make government work better, and teaching us all how to run the process. People would come to Trey or me or someone else and say, why can't McConnell just do this? Well, he probably in some instances could just do it, but to do it right and to do it effectively, help people understand it, pull people into the process. That's part of the McConnell magic that led to so many successes.
Yeah. Didn't count the amount of seconds it took after the end of his words about I'm still here and I still got work to do, that we got a tweet or a posting on X by Daniel Cameron announcing his run for U.S. Senate. Pretty quick turnaround there.
Yeah, maybe he had a heads up.
Maybe he had a heads up.
So he thought about it in advance.
Right. Well, he had it ready to go, right?
Yeah, so he jumped in the race immediately. Andy Barr, without an official announcement, the congressman from the 6th District here in Central Kentucky, essentially indicated that he's going to take a very strong, there's a little bit of hedging in his words.
Right.
Nate Morris, a businessman from here in Lexington. Nate, again, somebody who looks like a candidate. So he looks like you've got one for sure, two likelies. We'll have a lot. 2 signatures and $500, you can run for U.S. Senate. We might have like a dozen people on the ballot, but those are look to be the big three. And I'm not convinced we're going to have another major name, enter the race if all those three enter the race.
Well, and we can't forget on the other side of the ledger, Democrat Pamela Stevenson. She's reminding people that she's
I'm still here.
She's still here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed so.
Pretty tough.
Yeah, this will be settled in the Republican primary.
Yeah. And what about if Andy Barr were to run for U.S. Senate? What happens to his 6th district congressional seat? Who's going to take that?
Yeah, he would
or
have to
run
give
for
that
it?
up to run. One of the strongest names that I think is out there, and I think if she got in the race, she'd win and be an excellent member, is Amanda Mays Bledsoe, former Lexington council member, in just finishing up her first term in the state Senate. And, I think a lot of people are encouraging her from around the country to run. Other names who I think would look at it, depending on her decision, former Senator Damon Thayer, Ryan Quarles, Ryan Dotson, who's a state representative from just east of Lexington. He has said he wants to run. Matt Lockett, who's run a couple times for that seat, who's a representative from Jessamine and a little bit of Fayette County, I think. He's interested in running. So it could be a pretty large field. But I do think Amanda would be a really tough candidate. It might discourage some of those others from getting in the race.
Yeah. Any other names you want to drop there, Bob?
Oh, I'm sure you could find some more, but Bledsoe is going to be a strong name for starters. She's getting attention from around the country for this possible race if it were to mature the way we think it's going to go.
Yeah. What about Democrats? Do they have anyone to put up, and are there any names circulating
Probably
there?
so. It could be competitive to an extent, but given Barr's record in the district and how it's shaped now, it certainly favors a Republican candidate. I've known Amanda Mays Bledsoe all her life. Her late father was one of my best friends. She did exceedingly well in Lexington on the council, has done very well as vice chair of appropriations, a major assignment for a new member of the Senate, and now a lot of focus on her for this.
Yeah, the district has been trending red, and then when Franklin County was moved into the 1st, it made it redder. But that being said, what do we know about what happens the first election after a new president? That president's party almost always loses seats. So if the Democratic Party nationally is looking to pick up seats, an open seat that they used to hold as recently as through the 2012 election with former Congressman Ben Chandler, this will be on their radar screen. So there'll be resource promises and a lot of recruiting outreach. But again, depending on who jumps in that race, that might deter a Democrat looking at it. But I suspect that'll be more competitive to me in the fall than the Senate race.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see who Democrats can come up with, but there's definitely some prospects, and it could be that we're in for not just a good primary, but
a good general.
a good race all the way.
Well, that's what we want, right? We don't
We
want
wanna
just
talk
a
about it on
one-hit
election
wonder.
night.
Absolutely. We want to have something to talk about
Well, it's
for
all
2 or
about
3
us.
hours. It's all about us.
Yeah.
It is all about you guys. Well, thank you so